Hey guys, Elvis here. Welcome back to my Power Apps tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how you can create a Kanban view in Power Apps. And this Kanban view is part of my project screen. And in the previous video, we have built every other section, the grid, the list, and now we are doing the Kanban. And we are going to build this in such a way that it's responsive. That means it can adapt to any screen sizes. So whether it's desktop, tablet, or mobile, the design will look nice on everything. So let's dive in and I'll show you how I do this from scratch. So right here in my Power Apps Studio on my components pane, this is the container that holds all of the galleries. You can see this is the gallery for the grid view, which we've designed earlier, and this is for the list view. All right, so I'll go ahead and insert a horizontal gallery. I'll take out the minimum height and width for this. All right, I'll take out the entries. I'll make this just a blank gallery. I will turn on the flexible width and stretch this across. I'll reorder this to the end, change the name to Kanban view. Then I'll click on the edit icon here. I'll insert a container for the base. I'll make that the X and Y 0. Make the width span up to the width of the gallery, which should be the template width. Then I'll do same for the heights, parent.template heights. Then I'll make the fill white. I'll give it a white fill. I'll give this a white fill. Then I can see the items in the gallery are not spanning up or they're not being spaced evenly. So I will adjust that. I'll make the template padding 5, and for the template size, I would say the name of the gallery here, dot width. I would like to get the entire width, and I will divide this by the number of items in the gallery. Then this should space it out evenly. So I'm having a glitch here on the Power Apps Studio because there's a gap here which should not be, but that would fix itself later on when I reload the Power Apps Studio. So I can give this base Kanban view. I'll make this just the base there. I will insert another container here for the one that would hold all the items. I can say I need to take off the X there. So I can name this Kanban view name. Okay. Then I'll make sure the items in it are stretched. I'll take out the minimum height and width on this. And I will insert 2 containers here. One for item _1. So one for the upper parts and the lower parts. So the top part here will hold the upper part here will hold to take off the flexible height and width. So the upper part here will hold the project name and the icon here. So I'll make that turn off the flexible height for that. Then I'll make the height 80, just something smaller. Then the second one here would maintain flexible height. So inside of here now, I would like to make this a horizontal view, so horizontal container. So the items are stacked in columns. I would like to update the items property of my Kanban gallery. I'm going to insert a collection here to track the status, the number of items, the icons, and the color for those icons. So now I'll go ahead and insert an SVG icon. So I insert an SVG icon here. Okay, and next I would insert a container to hold the status and the other text below it. So that will be a vertical container, and I'll take out the minimum height and width. I will insert 2 text labels. I'll insert two labels. I'll select both and take out the minimum height and width from them. Then I'll ensure they are stretched. For this, the text would be this item dot status. Then the one at the bottom would be text this item dot number of projects, but I'll also concatenate projects after that. I will drag this, put this at the center for both, turn off flexible height and width for both. I think it's turned off. Turn on auto heights for both of them. Auto heights. I'll give this one a text size of, I'll make it bold, semi bold, and I'll give it a text size of 20. And the one at the bottom, I'll give it a text size of 16. Cool. And I need to stretch out the width. Cool. And for the parent for the two items, on the corner item 1, I'll bring that to the center. Very good. I'll take off the, why is this stretching out? Does it have minimum height and width? No. Let me make sure it's stretched this way. Cool. Then I'll take out the shadows, which I don't need for every one of them. Yeah, it's looking nice now. I'll add a gap on the items here for a gap of like 10. And I will add another icon, so I can duplicate this, add another icon. Then the fill for this container would be blank. I'll make that transparent. Then the icon would be this item dots. No, I want it to be a static icon. I think I have arrow left. Cool. Then for the color value, I want something hash. All right, so that is looking nice. I would like to add a padding around this. Let me see what we have on our main design. We have a line, right? So let me add a padding around it of like 10 left and right, 10 on both sides. Yeah, it's looking better. So I think I need to give this a gray color. I think I have a variable for a gray color, fx colors dot text gray. Perfect, that's what I need. So now we are done with the top part of the design. Now let's go ahead and design the second part where we can see all the projects for that particular category. So yeah, I have a design for the list view here. I think the closest one to this is, let me check, is this one here. That's the closest one to, so I can see the design is looking distorted. That's because we're not toggling the view of the Kanban gallery. So let's go over to the Kanban gallery, and we want to say it should only be visible when the selected view equals Kanban. So this variable is being updated based on the value of the button selected. So when I go to this gallery at the top here where we have the buttons, I can see that it's taking the text, this item.text, the text of the buttons. And this item.text is coming from, because we have a gallery here, it's coming from the items property of the gallery, which the button is taking its text from. Cool. So at this point, so I'm just going to copy this gallery here. I'll make a copy of this gallery here since I have that similar design. Then in this container here, I would paste my gallery. All right, then I'll make the visible true at this point here. Then I would take out the wrap on this. I'll just make that 1. Okay, then now we need to filter the gallery based on the current category. So I'll go over to the items property of this inner gallery. So let's take a look at that. And I can see that I have a initial status column that has the status of all the projects, which is what we are going to filter by. So I would say filter on this data where the initial status matches this item, which is pointing to the outer gallery, this item dot status. All right, guys, so now we can see that we have data coming for each category, and it looks really nice. So the way we have built this is the right way of doing things, because whenever we don't need to come into the edit mode to update the controls, all we need to do is to update the data, and it reflects properly right here on the design. So I think we still need to do some finishing touches to make it look perfect. Then let's add a gap between each of the columns. So I can do that from, let me see, from the parent here. I would take out the field from the parents, make it none. Okay, then for the main on Kanban view main, I'll give it a fill of whites. Then the width would be, I'll make the width static, but for the padding around, the cone base, I will give it a padding of 10. Then I'll make it same for the other sides. So this will be same as the padding top. Same for left and same for right. I also take out the shadow from the base. So now we are having the right padding that we need, and I think I'm pretty much satisfied with this. Let's see if we need to take off anything again. Then for the cards view in this gallery, inner gallery item, I need them to have the same background as the layer. So I can come over here and say the fill of the cards will be fx colors dot white layer, which is a light gray from the variable I have. Then that should be looking nice. Oh, I think I'm doing it on the wrong stuff. Say color dot transparent for now. I need to do it on the inner, the one before the item, the one having the main item. So I'll say fill, put this here. FX layer colors dot white layer. Okay, that's looking nice. And for, it's looking nice. I need to take off shadow from one of these. I'll take off the shadow from the one at the bottom. No shadows. I'm having a thin line there. I think I may need to add a gap between the items, so I'll put in a gap of 15 here. Yeah, that's nice. Then I need to add a border radius. So I'll come in and say radius. FX device mode. I have a variable for my radius. card radius. Then I will take that and make that same for the rest of the sites. So self dot this. So for this view, I think I need to take out the area where we have the budget and the tasks, because I don't think we need it for this view. So I'll come inside of here. I hope Power Apps is displaying this properly for me. I can't trace what I'm currently selecting, but I'll try to. Okay, it should be this here. So this container, I will just go ahead and turn the visibility off, because I may need that in the future. Yes, and it's looking better. And I think there's a shadow inside of this that I don't need. Take off the shadow. None. Is that it? Don't think that's its light. Semi-lights. Yeah, I think it's looking better now. Then I need to take out the scroll bar from the gallery, so it's looking proper. What else is remaining? I need to add a padding. Do I need to add a padding? I think I need to can make the padding double of that, 20. Good. Okay, let's say 1.5, not too much padding. Yes. So guys, I think this is perfect. One more thing, one bonus tip. If you're trying to get the correct number of counts for the number of items showing on the inner gallery here, I will just pick the name of the gallery. I'll go over here to this text label where I have this, because I don't think this item dot the number of projects, the items from the collection data is correct or is dynamic. So I will do this, plug in the gallery name, and I'll say dots all items counts. All items counts. Then that should give us the correct count for the number of items that are being displayed down here. All right, so that's it for this tutorial. I hope you got something from here. Share your thoughts on this video and let me know if you would like to see more contents like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.